Okay, Mayor, the recording has begun.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the special meeting of the Borough of Englewood Cliffs Mayor and Council. Today is May 24th, 2021. It's approximately 8:03 a.m. I call this meeting to order. Can I have a roll call, please?
Mayor Kranjak,
Here.
Council President Wu,
Here.
Councilperson Sparrow,
Here.
Councilperson Park,
Here.
Councilperson Di Gregorio,
Present.
Councilperson Luciano,
Present.
Councilperson Petrubas.
Here.
Borough attorney is present, acting borough administrator and the deputy borough clerk.
Thank you. Please all rise for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic
which stands
one
one
nation,
nation
under
under God, indivisible,
and justice for all.
for all.
Thank you. And I want to welcome Laura Borcher, our Deputy Municipal Clerk, to this meeting.
Thank you.
The Borough Administrator, our CFO, Tammy Zuga, and our Borough Council, Eric Bernstein. Can I have the Open Public Meetings Act statement read into the record?
The meeting is duly advertised in accordance with the provision of Chapter 231 of the Public
Can't hear.
Laws of 19 Oh, I'm sorry. Talk a little louder. This meeting has been duly advertised in accordance with the provisions of Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of 1975, also known as the Open Public Meetings Act or the Sunshine Law. Notice of the 2021 annual mayor and council meeting schedule has been provided to the officially designated newspapers, posted on the borough's website, posted on the outside doors of the borough municipal building, since public access to such building is not allowed because of COVID-19. Other borough facilities were applicable and provided to all parties who have requested a copy of such notice. Because of the COVID-19 pandemic, this meeting is being conducted electronically via Zoom pursuant to various executive orders promulgated by Governor Philip Murphy pursuant to the provisions of PL 2020, Chapter 11, which allows for meetings to be conducted electronically and pursuant to various local finance notices promulgated by the State of New Jersey, Department of Community Affairs, Local Finance Board. Notice as to Zoom access has also been provided according to law.
Thank you very much for doing that. At this point in our meeting, I'd like to open to the public. Can I have a motion to open to the public, please?
So moved. Second.
All in
Who,
favor?
who moved that, Mayor?
Whoa,
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. So if there's anyone from the public who wishes to be heard, please virtually raise your hand or get our attention. State your name and address and make your comments. There'll be no interaction with the council. We'll take a note of all questions if there are any, and the member that's the subject of that question will address it after. If there's anyone from the public, please raise your hand. Yeah, I don't see anyone. Mr. Stanhagen is he's more apt to write than to speak. So let's close the public portion. Have a motion to close the public portion, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. Next up is the public reading of ordinance 2021-09, an ordinance of the Borough of Englewood Cliffs, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, authorizing a special emergency appropriation pursuant to NJSA 40A4-53H for the payment of contractually required severance liabilities. This is a public hearing. Can I have a motion to open to the public?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, if there's any member of the public who wishes to be heard regarding ordinance 2021-09. Please virtually raise your hand or get our attention. State your name and address and your comments just as to that ordinance, please. Okay, I don't see anyone raising their hands. Could I have a motion to close the public portion of ordinance, the public hearing for ordinance 2021-09, please?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, you have a motion to adopt
Mr.
ordinance.
Mayor, Mr.
Yeah.
Mayor, Councilman Luciano, I have a couple questions before we start this ordinance.
I'm sorry, I don't see you. Oh, you don't have your camera on. Okay,
You ready for my questions?
go ahead.
Thank you, sir. I had requested some information on this ordinance. I believe this is the public hearing, so this is a second reading. First off, I have a question for Councilman Wu and the Finance Committee. I noticed in our supplemental budget reports that this has already been paid. I've asked to see the invoice and who signed off on it, which I have not received in, I guess, 2 weeks. So I'm just wondering who signed off on it, how it was already paid prior to this ordinance being enacted. And that's a question for Councilman Wu, who's the finance chair, or the mayor, because I believe the mayor has
So,
signed the check.
so Councilman Wu, you and I, of course, don't run the day-to-day operations of this borough, as Mr. Luciano should know, would know, and does know. The person who should answer this is the borough administrator, unless you prefer to answer it yourself, Councilman Wu.
No, I definitely defer to the administrator for this question. And Councilman Luciano, I don't think I saw your question come through before the meeting. Would appreciate if you send that over to me prior, so that if you're looking for me to provide an answer, that would be much appreciated.
Councilman, with all due respect, I submitted this question to the borough administrator almost 2 weeks ago. So I will in the future include you on a question that I
Okay,
need
thank
to
you.
have from
Yeah.
you.
So
My
by-
question really is did you sign off on the, did you sign off on
By
the
Mr.
budget?
Luciano's own
Mr.
admission.
Mayor, did you sign the check?
By Mr. Luciano's own admission just now, very clearly, he did not give Mr. Wu a heads up. He did send it to the borough administrator, who is prepared to answer, so I defer to her. Councilman Wu, you can do the same.
Likewise.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilman Luciano, first of all, there were 12 requests that you put in since you were appointed less than 2 weeks ago. I have addressed almost every single one of them, which were very lengthy, time-consuming, but I still made it a priority to get you everything you needed. That being said, we had a lengthy conversation when you came in to sign the bills the day of the council meeting on the last council meeting, Mayor. He asked for extensive information about, and I'll tell you exactly which ones, which were prior to my being appointed as administrator. So the breakdown of the analysis, which was prepared with myself and the CFO in this ordinance, include Captain McDermott, former Chief Chaffee, former Captain Regan, former Captain Murphy, former Captain Mura, former, I apologize if it was Lieutenant Hill as his rank when he retired, Ralph Rhine from the DPW, and Janice Romano. Under my supervision, I had the information for Janice Romano, Ralph Rhine, and Captain McDermott, all of which, with the help of the borough attorney, we found inconsistencies in the original preparation and corrected same. As for retired Captain Mura and the others that I just named, this was all done prior to my being here, and there's extensive files that have to be pulled. I explained that to Councilman Luciano, and I told him we would get it to him as soon as possible. These checks were prepared and payouts prior to my being here. So I'm not understanding if we can find out who the checks were
Mrs.
signed by.
McMorro, if I could interrupt you for 1
Well,
second.
I appreciate if you
Okay,
don't
go ahead.
interrupt until, okay, thank
Okay,
you.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's
wish
okay.
Let her
Same
finish.
to everybody, but
Let
I
her
apologize.
finish. Let her finish.
Oh, okay, I don't, the representation here is that I did not respond to your lengthy requests, which I did to the best of my ability, given my being here. As Mr. Bernstein can attest, there were files that came over from Mr. Ruderman's office. They were not entirely all turned over. Additional requests were made. One of them was the Mura file. An email.
Who is Mr. Ruderman? Could you
For-
please
the for-
explain?
the- Surely, the former
Please-
Labor
please raise your
Council.
hand and be recognized. Don't just interrupt.
Mr. Ruderman is the former Labor Council, and I was working along with Mr. George from Mr. Bernstein's office and trying to get all of these files turned over. Last week, Mr. Ruderman turned additional files over, and we have to still go through that together and see if all of the Mura file was turned over. So I don't want to give piecemeal information. I want to get all the information, and I explained that to Mr. Luciano, along with the fact that I'm training 2 new employees, Elizabeth in the finance office, who was in the middle of doing payroll at the time of his request. Good morning, Elizabeth. And also with Ms. Borchers, who's here now. There's been a lot going on top of trying to reintroduce the capital ordinance. So I just don't want the representation to be that I ignored his request. I've been working very hard trying to get him all of his answers, some of which are out of my control.
Of course, you didn't ignore his
Mr.
request, but you
Mayor, if
also,
I
of
may,
course, didn't
please.
remember what he asked you to do and what you did for him. Okay,
No,
can I have a vote,
Wait,
please?
no, wait.
I
I have
no,
a question. I
I
have
Can I
a
have a
am not
question.
done
motion,
yet.
please?
I
have a
am not
question.
done yet. I am not done yet because I don't.
Mr. Luciano, are you at work right now at Cliffside
I
Park?
have to be able to respond, okay? Mrs.
You can respond.
McMorrow,
Yes,
Mrs. McMorrow, my
Yes.
intent of I think the intent of my question that you just responded to
right.
is totally incorrect, okay? You never answered the question that I asked you. It has nothing to do with first off, my intent of my question is we're voting on an ordinance and we're having a public hearing on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 payables that people are going to vote on today that we don't have the information, regardless of you providing. It has nothing to do with you. My question is I don't know how we're voting on something when we don't have the information.
Mr. Luciano, all the information was
Mr. Mayor, how
provided
come I
to
could be interrupted,
all
but no one
all
can
the
interrupt
information
anybody
was
else?
provided to the council
How come,
regularly, including your predecessor who quit
really,
the council.
really? Okay.
Everyone
You're
has had
interrupting,
all the
you're
information.
interrupting, Mr.
Let me
Mayor.
finish
Everyone
my
has seen all the
question, please.
contracts.
Let me
Everyone
finish
has
my
seen all the
question,
contracts, all the severance
Mr. Mayor.
liability obligations.
How come,
If you
how
don't
come,
want to pay those
how come
severance
I could be
liabilities,
interrupted,
then
but
you
I
go
can't
and you
interrupt?
face those
Don't
people and
interrupt,
you
Mrs.
tell them that
McMorrow,
you're not
don't
going to
interrupt
pay
me.
them.
You
Mr.
can
Mayor-
talk
Mr.
over
Mayor,
people, but
Mr.
no
Mayor,
one else can talk. It's really amazing. No, let me finish,
No,
please.
I was gonna
I
say.
chair this meeting, sir. You have gone beyond
I
already.
have the floor.
You are
have
again
the floor.
wasting everyone's time.
I
And
have
I
the
hope
floor.
the people
No,
at Cliffside
voting on
Park who are paying your salary to be
$236,000
at
order.
That
work
has nothing to do with it,
understand this. And you
Mayor
too, Mr.
Kranjak.
DiGregorio.
That has
I hope
nothing to
people
do
at
with it.
Butterfly also enjoy the
Voting
fact
on
that you're doing this on their dime.
$636,000 ordinance is not a waste of time. Maybe it is to you,
Those
Mayor,
are
but as me
contractual
as a
obligations.
taxpayer, I'm
Those are
concerned about
contractual
paying
obligations.
600. Keep talking over me,
Can
Mayor.
I have a motion from the council to
That's
shut?
what
the
you-
No,
I
no
have the
motion. Let's hear,
I have
the
the floor.
taxpayers
I
are
have the
owed
floor.
an explanation. Stop interrupting
I
Mr.
have a
Luciano and let him
I
speak.
have the
Shut
floor.
that.
Mr. Luciano has the floor.
My question is,
No, I have the
Mr.
floor.
McMorrow,
I am the chair
my
of this.
question
Mayor,
was,
Mayor,
No.
I'm okay
my
to
question
communicate
was,
with him. Let
Mrs.
me communicate.
McMorrow,
But he's just.
my question
he's just
was,
trying
Let
to
me-
target you.
McMorrow,
But,
my question was, Mrs. McMorrow, who signed the invoice? It's very simple, not whether you provided information, who signed the invoice and who signed the check? Because we're voting on something that was already paid.
okay,
Okay.
hold on, and I'll find that out for you. That's,
I know that's what
That's
you've
fine.
been, with all due respect, Mrs. McMorrow, that's what I've been told, but we're voting on, with everything else, I understand you're training people and, I made 12 requests in 2 weeks and you're busy. I understand that.
but I
But you know
fulfilled
what?
all of them. I
Please, let
fulfilled
me-
all of
Mrs.
them
McMorrow,
regardless, sir.
interrupt me. How come how come everybody can interrupt me, but we have to sit here and not interrupt anybody? I really don't appreciate it.
As she,
Okay, I
as
know,
she
Mayor. Go ahead,
provided you
Mayor.
with
It's your
information.
turn to
Do not
interrupt.
get on this
I
call and
understand.
pretend that she has
It's your
not been,
turn to interrupt.
do not
I
get on
know.
this call and pretend that she has not been helpful. She has been providing you with
I never
information.
said that.
It's just that
Don't
you
put
will
words
never
in
be
my mouth.
satisfied.
I
Do
never
you or
said
do you
that.
not want to pay these
I never
severance
said that.
liabilities?
Don't put words in my mouth.
You
I
have
never
not,
said that.
you have not
I
been
never said
neglected
that.
anything.
Don't
You've
put
been
words in
provided
my mouth.
everything you wanted,
I never
okay?
said that.
You
Don't
have
put
been
words in my
provided
mouth.
everything, and you are just.
Could you not
marketing this
interrupt Mr.
tomorrow.
Luciano and let him
said that.
speak?
Don't put words in my mouth.
Okay, can I have a motion to shut down discussion?
No,
I make a motion to move.
No,
ordinance
I make a motion
Can I
that
have
we
a
make,
second?
I make a motion, we let Mr.
I made a
Luciano
motion
continue.
already, okay?
No.
No, yeah, I know,
Ramon,
I know.
what are you afraid of? Why
There's a
can't you have
motion on the
discussion?
floor.
It's a
Mayor,
puppet.
For a
Mayor,
second.
just,
Pull the
Why
strings,
can't you
Mario.
have discussion?
just a quick question.
Oh, no, it's already
Borough-
motion.
Borough
Forget it.
Administrator McMorrow, just want to confirm, those numbers that are paid are per contractual obligations, correct?
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
so I don't
But
see
you
any
don't know
issues
that,
with
right?
it.
You don't know that.
Why do we not know that?
Council
She's
President,
confirming that.
right? No, you don't know that
No.
personally, do you?
There was a
If I,
discrepancy.
Council President,
You don't know that, right?
may I compound on that statement? Council
Yes,
President
please,
won't.
please,
Council
please.
We can't
President
even find the details. So how can
Don't-
someone certify
if I
that?
may,
it's right?
if
Where's
I may.
the issue, Mr. Luciano? What did you see? Why don't you disclose to
Where's
us?
the issue? You know, here, Council President, you know what I have? I didn't see. And you know what? By the council, by our borough administrator's own admission, she hasn't seen it either because we're still looking for it. And you're just going by, you haven't seen anything and you're the finance chair. So you're saying, oh, the borough administrator says it's good.
Well, that's
and
not
you're gonna
true.
vote for it.
But hold on,
So-
that's absolutely not, that's a false statement. Mayor, if I may
Cut me
respond.
off now, Mayor, that's fine.
Look.
Council
first of
President, if
all,
I may just,
anyone's interrupting you, Mr. Morrow, mute them.
hey,
okay? And then remove them. because this
Council
is-
President, may I
Mr. Claus.
respond?
Yes, please.
Of course you can.
There's two, I don't want my words to be changed here. What I stated was that those four were not prepared under me. What Councilman Luciano also doesn't know, as a private member of the public, when those four agreements were voted on last year, 2 years ago, I got up and asked the same questions he did. I was assured by then Councilman Aversa and Joseph Marinello and the borough administrator at the time, Ms. Duffy, that those numbers were all verified correct. In fact, they came back 2-minute meetings later. I think you were yourself, the mayor, and Councilman Farron were present. And they said they looked at it, they pulled the records, and everything was correct. Now, I will look at it again, and I gave Councilman Luciano my word that I will pull those records again. And in fact, I tried to pull it on Friday. Ms. Borges is sitting right next to me. We pulled the invoices that he requested to the other lawyers, and we were going to try and pull that. And the finance clerk downstairs was alone. She didn't have the opportunity to do it. And those checks have already been signed. So this is something
paid.
that's from the
And
past.
paid,
Nothing to do with any of us sitting here, sir.
and
I'm
paid.
agreeing, but nothing, that check was written prior to me being appointed.
Has nothing to do with you, Mrs. McMorro.
I
My
appreciate
question is
that, but
towards
I
the
gave you
council.
my
The
word. I
council
gave
and
you
their
my word.
responsibility of $636,000 that's already been paid, that we're gonna be voting on
No,
today.
the council from 2 years
Not
ago,
one
the
council person has
council,
seen the details.
sir, the council from 2 years ago had the responsibility. This
No, we have a responsibility
council
for that.
is cleaning up the mess that they inherited from the prior council and the prior CFO. And I
I'm
thank
tired of
Ms.
hearing
Zucca
about the
for
past.
finding that. No, that's the truth, and Ms. Zucca can speak for herself. They're cleaning up the mess that they inherited. And I assured you, I will pull all four of them. I will go through it, and I'll go through it line by line with you. I've said yes to every single one of your requests. I just ask that you be patient during this time period. But we inherited this, sir. This is not a new contractual obligation that we are voting on here. This is from 2 years ago. I just want everyone to
again-
understand that.
Can I have
And
a
once
motion
again,
to
Ms.
approve
McMorro, it has
2109?
nothing to do with
And I
you
have a
providing.
motion.
And
to
I
approve
appreciate that.
21.
And
I made that
I gave
motion
you my
already.
word.
Has to
I'm
do
waiting
with
for the
council's
The
second.
motion made, is there a
responsibility
second?
And $636,000
All right,
that we're
William
going to
Wu,
approve today.
William Wu made a
that no
motion
one's
to approve.
questioning.
I have another
21,
question.
My point.
And
I have
Ramon
two
Farrow
questions.
seconded.
I have
it.
two questions.
Mr. Bernstein, there's a motion and a
Mayor don't want to
second.
hear
I have a
questions.
question.
Mr. Bernstein, there's a motion and a second. Can we
I have
take a
two
vote?
questions. I have two questions.
Mr. Bernstein, I'm asking you a question.
I have two questions.
There is a motion to second, Your Honor, on the ordinance. That's
Right. Can we
true.
roll into a vote, please?
When do we open for discussion?
You have a
We're not going to
discussion.
do that according
No,
to
this is-
Robert's Rules of Order.
The Robert's Rules
don't
of
do
Order.
that, right,
We have
Mario?
a
You just do
motion
what you
and a
want.
second.
No motion, right?
Ms.
No
Clerk, can we
Robert's
have a
Rules of
roll
Order.
call, please?
Right? No discussion.
Ms.
Robert's Rules of Order
Ms.
say a
Clerk, can we
discussion.
have a roll call?
Yes.
Yes.
Go ahead. You have to speak
So
loud.
much for Robert's Rules of Order, Mr.
Mr.
Mayor.
Luciano, you do not have the floor.
So much for Robert's Rules of
Mr.
Order, Mr. Mayor.
Luciano, you must
So
comply.
much
You
for
will be
Robert's
removed.
Rules of Order,
I have
Mr.
two questions and you're not following Robert's Rules of
We are
Order.
following Robert's Rule. There's a
No, you're
motion
not.
and a second, and there's gonna
Council
be a vote.
President
I'm
Wu,
sorry.
Yes.
Discussion.
What are you
before a
afraid
vote.
of? What are you trying to hide? Why can't we discuss?
Transparency, right,
Mr.
Mario?
Councilman
It really,
Farrow?
Yes.
this is
Mr.
$600,000 of
DeGregorio, you
taxpayer
must
money.
stop speaking when you're not being spoken to or when you do not have the floor.
All right. All right.
You're
Mayor.
not, I had two
Councilman Clark,
questions.
Yes.
Councilman Luciano,
No. And the only reason why no is because I haven't been
No.
provided detail to make.
Councilman Di Gregorio,
has
There
nothing
has to be
do with the
discussion. You are breaking
Mr.
the
DeGregorio,
rules.
yes or no?
No, it's
You
Abstain.
are breaking the rules and my answer is no, and you're
Okay.
breaking the rules. And you're
Councilman
hiding something
Kutrubis?
because it sure looks like it.
Yeah, because
You
you
were-
said so, right? Because you said so, and
Talk, Mayor.
will print it, right?
You're
Go ahead.
allowed to talk.
Keep
None
going.
of us are.
If you were trying to hide something, you'd be glad to have
We
discussion.
are not hiding anything. Everything's there. Your predecessors have all seen
How
it.
can you,
We're not
how
gonna
can
go
you,
back and
understand?
relive
how can you
2 years
pay
of
something? How can you pay something?
Okay,
How can you
Councilman
pay
Kutrubis?
something without having it being approved by the council?
it's been approved.
Councilman Katrubis,
Predating all these discussions, I just want the public to know, predating all these discussions, I recall lengthy discussions concerning these topics. And unfortunately, Mr. Luciano, you weren't there, but we have had some pretty lengthy discussions when all of this has been uncovered. So yes.
thank you, Mayor. Passes, Mayor.
Okay, next on the agenda is resolution 2021-126, resolution authorizing a special emergency appropriation. You have a motion? You have a second?
Second.
You have a roll call?
Isn't there
Council
supposed to be
President Wu?
discussion before a vote? I
We
a
have to
point of
discuss.
order. I have a point of order.
Mr. I don't
There's supposed
recognize
to
your
be
point of order.
discussion
I don't
before the
recognize your
call
point of
for a
order,
vote.
sir.
Discussion
Um,
I don't
before
recognize
the
your point of
call of a
order.
vote.
Don't
Mr.
recognize your point of
Bernstein,
order.
can you
You're
weigh in on that,
interrupting.
please?
Before the point, before a call for the vote. That's Robert's Rules of Order.
No,
You
Robert's
get the
Rules of Order, but you
second,
make a point of order.
get the
I don't have to
second,
acknowledge it.
And then you have to call for discussion before you call for the vote. So if you're following Robert's Rules.
Why
of
does this guy keep getting the floor,
Please
Ms. Clerk?
follow, please
Clerk,
follow.
he does not
Robert's
have the
Rules
Okay,
of
floor.
Mr. Bernstein.
He is a councilman, Mr. Mayor.
Rules of
He does
Order,
not have
sir.
the floor.
Mr.
Please
Bernstein,
follow Robert's Rules
Will
of
you
Order.
please mute
sir.
him? Please mute
Please
him.
follow Robert's Rules of Order, sir.
We
That's
are
all
following
I'm
Robert's Rules of Order.
Mr. Bernstein.
Mr. Luciano has
Could you
been
please-
muted.
Okay, well, we're trying to gain order back to the meeting, sir. Mr. Bernstein,
We want
is
discussion.
it
Please,
ordinary
Gregorio,
practice to automatically have discussion?
Motion, a second, a discussion, a vote. That's Robert's Rules of Order.
Mr. Bernstein, please.
The answer to the question is motion, second, discussion, vote.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Mayor, you stand corrected.
Okay, so
No,
let's,
I stand for good order.
You
and
stand for
I know what
yourself.
you're doing today,
make
which
up
is
your
what you
own
did the
rules.
last 3 meetings.
but,
You
but,
make
but,
up your own rules.
All right, so what is your question? What is your question? Do you have a
I
question?
think Councilman Di Gregorio had questions, but you want to
Well,
follow Robert's Rules of
So you
Order.
don't have a question, okay.
but we
Yeah,
need an
okay.
orderly meeting, sir. We can't, the
Discussion.
clerk and myself
Move to
cannot even
second
hear the
discussion.
votes.
All right, so Mr. Di Gregorio, Mr. Luciano, who is controlling you at the moment, says that you have a question. What would you like to ask?
No, you only have puppets, Mayor, not me.
No, actually, I don't have puppets.
Oh, you sure do.
Okay, can we, please?
Could the CFO outline this for the public? Thank you,
Thank
just
you.
quickly. She
Hold
was
on,
kind
Laura.
enough.
I'm switching over to my iPhone, okay? Thanks.
Yeah, sure. Tammy, could you
CFO.
unmute?
Everyone,
I'm trying to unmute her.
I think I'm muted.
Thank you, Tammy.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay. What was your question, Councilman Di Gregorio?
I would just like the public to be apprised of what this emergency resolution is concerning. And you were kind enough to answer me, and if you could do that for the public very quickly, I'd appreciate it.
Yes,
And-
absolutely. So those 15 people that were paid at the beginning of the year were, by contract, due money for their sick and vacation time. Because the money wasn't in the budget at the time, because we were on an introduced budget, the state allows us to do a special emergency ordinance, which allows the borough to spread the cost of these contractual liabilities over the next 5 years so as not to hit the taxpayers all at once. The ordinance allows the borough to fund these costs over a 5-year period. The resolution coincides with the ordinance. You need to do both. That's a state requirement. In order to set up the proper authorization to spread it out over 5 years.
Tammy, if I may, and I apologize because I don't have your last name. All you have is your name up there, and I apologize.
I know, I don't know how to fix that. I'm sorry.
That's all right, if you don't mind me calling you Tammy, but now I guess the question that I have on the resolution, you say this just has to do with the emergency appropriations. How come on resolution 21, which I think is what we were about to vote on, 21-127, I see significant. In the
No,
You're on
126.
126.
126, yeah.
126, isn't that what we just, isn't that the
Yeah.
word? Wasn't that the ordinance?
No.
No,
No.
2109 was the ordinance.
This is the accompanying resolution, Councilman, that goes with 21, with ordinance 2021-09, as Ms. Zucker indicated, is required by the local budget law.
Oh, okay, because I don't think I ever, 2109. Okay, I see it now. Okay, thank you very much. Sorry for my mistake.
No problem.
I think that's it that I have. I don't know, but the mayor's running the meeting. You could ask if anybody else has a discussion.
Okay, can I have a vote, please? We had a motion and a second.
Council President Wu? Council President Wu?
Yes.
Councilman Farrow?
Yes,
Councilman Park?
Yes.
Councilman Luciano?
No,
Councilman Di Gregorio?
No,
Councilman Katrubis?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, can you read in the next resolution, please?
Sure. Give me 1 second.
Thank you.
Resolution
Meeting.
21-127, resolution of the Borough of Englewood Cliffs authorizing supplemental temporary appropriations for calendar year 2021. Do I have a motion?
I make the motion.
Second.
Hold on 1 second.
discussion.
Any discussion?
yes, I'd like, is this just, maybe the CFO can explain to us, or Tammy can explain to us is this just the reasoning that we're increasing all these supplemental lines because of, we haven't approved our budget yet? Because some of them are significant increases, and I'm just
Yes.
wondering if that's the reasoning.
Yes, that is the reason. Yes,
Thank you very much.
you are welcome.
Thank you,
Any-
Tammy.
Any other discussion? Do I have a motion? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm gonna call the roll then. Council President Wu,
Yes.
Councilman Farrow,
Yes,
Councilman Park,
Yes.
Councilman Luciano,
Abstain.
Councilman Di Gregorio,
Yes,
Councilman Katrubis.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion passes, Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, there's nothing else on the agenda, right, for today?
No, that's it, Mayor.
Okay,
So,
thank you,
Mayor,
Laura, Carol,
if
Tammy,
Mayor,
Eric.
Mayor,
Yeah.
Mayor, one point, I just want to remind all the council members again that the advertisement for special counsel is still on. There's about 2 weeks left. It's going to a week from this Friday. It must be at Borough Hall by the morning of a week from this Friday. So any submissions for special counsel is still advertised, Mayor. Just wanted to remind the entire council.
Okay, thank you,
You're very welcome.
everyone. Have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
to adjourn.
Second.
Who moved that, please?
I did.
Second by Councilman Katrubis.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Can I have a motion, can I have all in favor?
Aye.
All
Aye.
right.
Anyone
Thank you,
opposed?
everyone. Have a good day.
All
Good
right,
day, everyone.
thank you, bye.
Okay.
The mayor learned
Bye.
something today.